Around 1.2 million years ago, if you walked across any land on this planet, you wouldn't find a single white person anywhere. The truth is, all of our ancestors back then shared the same dark skin tone. This wasn't a coincidence, but the most perfect biological armor nature ever gave humans once we started losing the thick body hair that once protected us. In equatorial regions like Africa, where the sun blasted the earth with brutal ultraviolet radiation, our skin developed a miraculous natural filter called melanin. Many people mistakenly believe melanin simply determines skin color, but in reality, it's a devoted bodyguard. It stood there, absorbing harmful UV rays before they could damage our DNA and destroy essential nutrients in the blood, like folate, a vitamin critically important for reproduction. In regions with intense sunlight, the more melanin people had, the darker their skin became, and that was the shield that helped humanity survive millions of years under the scorching sun. However, this balance began to break when the first groups of humans decided to leave Africa and migrate north into new lands. The farther people moved away from the equator, the more a silent biological crisis began to unfold. Sunlight became much weaker, and suddenly, melanin, the very shield that once protected us, turned into a barrier. Our bodies need UV rays to produce vitamin D, a vital source of energy that keeps bones strong and the immune system functioning properly. If human skin remained too dark in low sunlight regions like Northern Europe or Siberia, people would suffer from rickets and severe weakness. To survive, nature carried out a massive genetic overhaul. Our skin gradually evolved to become lighter over generations, allowing even the weakest sunlight to penetrate deeply enough to produce sufficient vitamin D for the body. This is where Glöger's rule becomes most visible. Creatures living closer to the equator tend to develop darker coloring to protect themselves, while species living in colder regions gradually become lighter in order to maximize energy absorption. But there's one fascinating paradox that many people don't know about. Why do the Inuit, who live in the frozen Arctic year-round, still have relatively dark skin? The answer isn't sunlight, it's their diet. Because they consume large amounts of fatty fish and seal liver, both extremely rich sources of vitamin D, their bodies never face the evolutionary pressure to develop lighter skin in order to absorb more sunlight. The skin color you have today is actually a precious inheritance passed down from the geographic regions where your ancestors stood thousands of years ago. It's not a trait meant to divide humanity, but proof of our species' extraordinary ability to adapt to different environments. Whether your skin darkens in the summer or becomes lighter in the winter due to shifts in melanin distribution, it's simply your body doing its best to protect you from the changing forces of nature. In the end, whether we are black, white, or yellow, we all carry the same ancient genetic foundation from millions of years ago. What we call racial differences are really just delicate brushstrokes, shaped by natural selection. A story about the perfect balance between protection and absorption. We are one single species, with one shared history, yet painted in countless shades to fit every corner of this planet. When we look at a person's skin color, we shouldn't see a difference in worth or status, but the living evidence of humanity's great migration journey unfolding right before our eyes.